Okay. Back to functional. Because Finzent is bringing in 4th Mund. Babar, on the other hand, is bringing in 8th Indian Infantry. And 8th Indian Infantry is, in my tier list, S tier division. Now I'm not 100% sure if it's not just 8 here, but it is for sure one of the best divisions in the game. And 4th Monte is a C tier division in my eyes. I mean, we aren't Cell, so CQC is quite okay, but... Or did we see someone else with 4th Monte on this map? No, we saw Fantix with 4th... No. Was it this game? Because 4th Monte is just a weird division. We saw someone else picking 4th Monte on this map, didn't we? But yeah, it's Detonutis, it's just weird. Because all these infantry units are not amazing. And yeah, you need amazing infantry on this map if you want to win that way. And you have really good infantry on the side of 8th Infantry, as we saw earlier. I played them in ranked earlier, and they just demolished. Like, Gurkha Rifles doing really well. The sniper spam is really nice as well, yeah. You also get one of the best artillery pieces in the game, and Cell is a map where artillery play is important. You get an off-map. 4th Monte has some of the off-maps as well, I think, but it's mostly plain off-maps, if I remember correctly. Like, 4th Monte I just didn't... I don't consider it a division that will ever be meta. That's why I don't put too much effort in knowing that division that well. Because it just doesn't have the tools. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, the sniper spam is obscene in 4th Monte. Yeah, the recon is sniper spam. But you also got sniper spam in 8th Indian. And I think 8th Indian Infantry, the baseline infantry is better. The 12-man rifle squadrons and are just really, really strong. Especially as they also have the Thompson. So yeah, no, I disagree there. 4th Monte is like Dictanuti and so on. The Infanteristy Vantori, the Kare. Yeah, don't know. The Chechitari, obviously good, but don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of 4th Monte. And it also struggles with Shermans, somewhat. So, yeah. Especially with the bigger Shermans, like the Sherman 5s. Let's see. And yeah, you like the Sherman 5s with 100 frontal armor struggle a bit against that. The air tab is mediocre, but the air tab on the other side is also pretty good. And you only have those puny artillery pieces, right? And yeah, no, I don't know. Let's see. And Panzer 4 is also not good on this map. That's the other thing. Like, the 20mm are a bit more important, I guess, in B phase. Yeah, if you would have the Panzer 4s and the 20mm in A phase, this division would be solid. But in like 20mm also fall off quite heavily between early on and if you get them like in A phase. And you can exploit the lack of AT guns on the battlefield somewhere and so on. But versus enemy has set up AT guns in B phase. It's quite a difference. But let's see, maybe I get proven wrong here. Like, I don't know the outcomes of the series, actually. I even forgot the outcome of the series, and I for sure don't know the outcome of the individual games anymore. But yeah, interesting choices here. As I said, I don't consider 4th Monte that good. And did I pause? No. What the fuck? How long did they take? 8 minutes. 8 minutes it is already. Okay. I was not sure if I did pause, but I know, I mean, we saw setup, so yeah. Weird. Like, yeah. Let's see how it goes here. MG34s, Pioneers, Detinutis. I find like Detinutis are quite hard to play. Autocar, also pretty good unit here. It got a bit more pricey though. Like, for 30 points this was insanely powerful. For 35 points not quite as an OP anymore. Still a good unit though. Yeah, 6-pounders, Vickers. Indian field engineers. You got really good availability on the field engineers and the assault pioneers in Indian as well, like 9 and 18, or 15-point flamethrower, 4-man flamethrower, or 15-point 4-man TNT squadron, which are both pretty good units. And yeah, here we go. Assault pioneers, both coming in A here for Babar. So 18 of them in A, but none in B. Maverick versus Maverick. A lot of jeeps for the start though. So you have a pretty quick start as well. He could have maybe captured a bit more territory, for example, in the south as well. 6-pounder coming in, Sherman rolling forward. And the question is, yeah, how will the fight up here on the hill go? Will there be a big fight there? And yeah, how well can the special sniper squadrons do here? The double sniper for 25 points. Good unit, obviously. Yeah, double. It's not the best sniper rifle, but double sniper overall is just really strong. And yeah, 2 snipers for 25 points. Quite good. I mean, yeah, you pay 25 points for a single sniper on the other side. Baltimore coming in with the bombs. But as I said, you really need them as well here, the Chitchadari. And the first one of them is down. Baltimore doing its job. 81mm mortar coming in from the rear. Interesting to see that he uses the mortars, not the artillery pieces, because the artillery pieces only cost 80 points. And you get these pretty cheap, pretty good solid anti-tank guns here. The heat shell is pretty good, 1500 meter range. Mediocre accuracy though. AP shell rather lackluster, but the heat shell's pretty decent for 30 points. And like pretty solid against normal Shermans, but against Sherman 5s they will somewhat struggle. So let's see how this goes. Gurkha rifles on the offense. Vicker is moving forward. Ooh, autocover spreader. That's pretty good for the Breda. Or it's at least supposedly. Yeah, Breda gets the kill there. German pushed back over here. Off-map car is around already for Babar as well. Question is, where will the off-maps come in? 20mm AA pieces being called in. 60mm mortars. Always quite nice as well. 81mm mortar of Babar trying to get the hit onto the Breda. Gurkha rifles versus Infanteristi. Will be won by the Gurkha rifles. More Infanteristi coming in. Titinuti. 12-12 here. More Shermans rolling in. Okay, this is highly aggressive here. Did he already call it? No, he didn't call in 3 off-maps already. Is this... or is this just a recon? Oh, this is just the recon transport. Okay, yeah, it's not the off-map calling. It's the same vehicle as the off-map calling. I was like, but yeah, he would not do this this way with the recon off-map calling. Okay, so it's just a normal recon vehicle. I don't like using slow transports for my snipers, because I want to have them fast on the front line, so that's why. Yeah, I forgot that you had these vehicles. Vic SMG gets pinned down by the Vanataro de Monte. The 30-point double MG34 unit here. Also 12-man squadron. So better long-range firepower than the Gurkha rifles, but the Gurkha rifles has the better CQC firepower, as 2 MP40s versus 3 Thompsons is obviously not a good matchup. Thompson's one of the best SMGs, MP40 one of the worst, and then also 3 versus 2. But so far, so good for Finzent. Field engineers moving up. Another 81mm mortar coming in. Yeah, surprised to not see the 80-point artillery pieces on Bavar's side. And only non-radio 81mm mortars instead. Gorka rifles getting hit by some sniper leaders in the top. More Indian scouts coming in. More of the snipers here. Pioneers moving forward. 12-12 so far is still on. 3 pieces coming in here for Finzent. More 81mm mortars on the side of Babar. German moving up. Sniper getting some hit on some 60mm mortars. But the Pioneers should be able to end that quite quickly. At least will kill off one 60mm mortar before it runs into the Pioneers. But yeah, these Indian scouts are toast. 12-12 continues for now. Sherman moving forward. Pretty strong leader here. Mariwo, thanks for the follow. Panzerschreck and Sniper Rifle for 30 points. Got cheaper in the latest change, in which the ones of Gebirgsjägers, which are pretty similar in loadout, got more expensive. These got cheaper. To be like, these were 35 points, now they're 30 points. Same amount of as the Gebirgsleiterführers. So yeah, even more cheaper snipers for Munte. Which I guess was one of the reasons why they were brought up into the minds of people. That's light buff, but as I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Munte. But we will see. Maybe Finzent can prove me wrong. MG34 getting hit over here. Sherman getting killed off. The other game of Munte on this map that I saw was for sure by someone else, but I haven't seen this game. I saw someone else, so I'm not quite sure who it was anymore. But that one was quite the dumpster fire. This one here goes way better already for Finzent, because in that one I watched the Detinuties and so on were completely melted from the get-go in the middle. As the enemy used a lot of light armor, which you just can't deal with Munte. The 8th Indian doesn't quite have as much annoying light armor to throw at you. So the 12-12 continues. Baltimore did its job again, but not hitting too much this time. 81mm mortars doing some smoking. The one in the middle got killed off by counter by the Dorito. 1mm artillery piece is out now on the side of Finzent, and yeah, so far the trades I would say have gone slightly better for Finzent. So yeah, going surprisingly well there. Vickers HMG versus Maratori de Monte. Adding Delta with Gorka rifles in the south. Ooh, running into a Molotov though. Yeah, and Molotovs don't do too much, don't do instant pins and instant kills anymore versus normal infantry, but against vehicles that still works. So good job there for Finzent. Also interesting to see normal rifle Piats around now for Babar instead of only seeing Gorka rifles and Indian rifles. Yes. Yeah, these are the normal standard Commonwealth units, which are in most things inferior to the Indian and the Gorka rifles, as they're 2 men less and also don't have the SMGs. But obviously they have a Piat. But still, not quite sure if you don't just want normal Gorka rifles, especially against or normal Indian rifles, which are 5 points cheaper and have 2 men more and also better SMG. But especially as you don't need to worry about too many vehicles versus 4th Monte. I'm not quite sure if the Piat is really that worthwhile. Ooh, Predator doing a good job here. But at least Babar reacts, unloads units out before they get completely annihilated. Detinuti versus Assault Pioneers here. Going pretty well. Pioneer getting a TNT off, though, getting rid of one of the rifle Piats. The Assault Pioneers pin down the Detinuti, get 1 or 2 surrender, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, even against a 4-man Flamer squad, They don't deal damage fast enough with their Molotov to kill them off, so they get surrendered there. Spitfire here is in trouble, maybe. Got called in for strafing, which is an interesting choice. I'm not thinking of Spitfire Mark 5 beat drops as strafers, really. They are okay at it, but you don't really want to do it. Meanwhile, center, going pretty well for Finzent. Got rid of a Sherman here, I think. Yeah, Sherman got killed off over here. 40 is around, and the north is not looking too hot for Babar. The north is not looking too hot here for Babar. Tinuti can finally get rid of the assault pioneers. Rifle Piats under heavy 60mm mortar fire. Vickers HMG will push back the MG34. 81mm mortar trying to deal with 20mm AAPs. Not quite able to do so though. Leader coming in. Now the AOP, the off-map, finally arrives. This is the off-map one. Not the recon one this time. So yeah, 135 points. 3 artillery call-ins. The 6-pounder here tries to get a shot onto some transports. Will not get the hit with the first one. And Finzent unloads before it can get a second one onto the transport. 25-pounder. Okay, what? Why wouldn't you use the 80.140mm? It's interesting. I think those are one of the best artillery pieces in the game. I've seen a couple of people not using them by now with 8mm, but usually those people lost their games, so I like think also Herr Robert in his games versus Quadro U also didn't use them and used 25-pounders instead. I don't think 25-pounders are better. Like 25-pounders are not that bad, but they just don't quite have the oomph per hit that you can get with the 140mm. Like killing off any stationary armored vehicles or so is harder with these. You have slightly better rate of fire, obviously. Well, like quite a bit better rate of fire, but just the oomph per hit is not there with 25-pounders. Indian scouts being pinned down. Finzent on 1311. And maybe I was too fast with my judgment of Forfmunte. Forfmunte is doing a good job here. 81mm mortar trying to help out over here. Has quite a lot of infantry in the center now. Babar not trading too amazingly lately. Rifle Piats here versus the Breda. Should be able to kill it off. Yeah, okay. Field engineers trying to come in. Tinuti holding the front line. Off map. Trying to help Babar out to get in there. Doing an okay job, but not amazingly. Next one being called in. Möbelwagen and 20mm coming in for the center. There's a Sherman on the way. 25-pounder on the battlefield. But a lot of pressure onto the center of Babar, and there's not that much left there. Finzent is really keeping up the pressure there. And getting trades that are pretty good. That are pretty good. Toward Chichitari with the double snipers versus Indian scouts and Gurkha rifles. Indian scouts slowly but surely getting the pin on the first one. But second Vanatory Chichitari coming around. Meanwhile, like 97 over here gets killed off. Off map did an okay job. Finzent still on the 1311, 14 minutes in. But more Indian rifles arrive over here. Vickers HMG trying to deal with the infanteristi. Not quite able to do so though. The Vickers HMG gets killed off. More Gurkha rifles coming in. More Indian rifles coming in as well. ACV goes down. Yep, the Shermans didn't do too much for Babar, and the southern push is going okayly, but not amazingly. More 20mm here coming out for Finzent. Sherman's not quite up there yet to help out. Rifle Piats though, get one hit at least with the Piat. And Sherman's now coming around. Try to deal with the 20mm. First one is going down. Infantry is pushed back as Vanatory Dekari come in with the Panzerschreck. 13-11 though continues for Finzent. Sherman gets the kill into the next 20mm. Flying the next one and gets the next one. Yeah, that's what you want the Shermans for in this matchup. Has to be careful of the Vanatory Dekari though. If you lose both Shermans to that, that would be quite devastating. Infantry screening for the Shermans not quite given anymore. Infanteristi with Panzerfaust coming around. 20mm reveals itself to the Shermans. But Vanatory Dekari could come up from the rear now. Indian rifle leader has a sniper rifle as well. Indian rifles trying their best to deal with it. Ooh. Sherman's just driving through. Get the... Oh boy. Get the drive-by shooting kill there. Next 20mm under fire. Pack 40 is around though this time. And that one is obviously quite dangerous to Shermans. And both Shermans go down. And this is really bad for Babar, who kind of needed those Shermans. Only having one Sherman left on the battlefield right now. Okay, 140mm coming up now. Interesting. So he has 81mm 25 pounders and 140mm in the deck. So quite good variety there in artillery pieces. But as I said, I feel like mostly you just need the 140mm. Ooh. And 20mm over here, still annoying. German should rotate around. Is on the way now. Pack 38 though is coming up in the center. Baltimore bomber. Trying to hit the 20mm. Okay. Interesting. Another Sherman has arrived for Babar over here, but still a 14-10 for Vincent. Baltimore trying to hit the vehicles. Not gonna happen. Not the best usage of the Baltimore, as the 20mm can dodge this too easily. Invalidity coming in. Leader coming in. And another 25 pounder coming in as well. Indian 25 pounder will hit the south. Gorka rifles under fire by the one Natori Chechitari. Indian rifles versus the Tenuti here. Off map, not hitting too much. Panzer 4 is around now. 2 of them with 3-star veterancy. Versus only 2-star veterancy Sherman. And 2 versus 1, they will easily clap the Sherman. 6 pounder not quite around to help out. Natori Chechitari gets dealt with. Sherman is trying to help out over here. Engages the 20mm AA piece. Sherman helped out over here, getting rid of the 20 mils. But there's a lot of investment into artillery now by Babar, but not that much frontline to cover for that artillery at the moment. Pack 38 is around as well. Sherman got gun jammed. Sherman got driver killed, so that should be the end of the Sherman. 30 minutes of free firing for Pack 38 on this range should be a game over. Yes, Sherman goes down. So another one, Sherman bites the dust. Sherman's really not working as well as Babar needed them to work so far in this game. And it looks quite grim here. It looks quite good for Finzent with the Munte. So, yeah, proving me wrong. Showing that the caster doesn't know what he's talking about. Sherman coming in here. Or maybe that balance currently allows for a lot of divisions to be played. Like, it's nice to see the variety. Nice to see a 4th Munte succeed. But I'm just still pretty surprised. As I said, yeah, the snipers are good. But I don't think the base infantry is that amazing. And the rest is just all so weird. Like, Mittelwagen, these weird, super slow anti-tank vehicles. 20 millimeters only in B phase. The artillery pieces that are neither here nor there, like they're decent. They have radio. They're somewhat cheap. I mean, yeah, I guess they're pretty okay as well. But they're also, yeah, it's a weird division. But it's cool to see it succeed right now, as Finzent is up. Oh, was up to 59 for a second. Sherman finally doing Sherman things. Getting rid of the R-35s. More Shermans coming up here. But Sherman in the south has fallen. Panzer Force still around. Mandatory Dakari gets the TNT off. He will kill the Indian rifle leaders. And there's not that much to hold in the south either. Babar did trade quite poorly everywhere, basically. 25 pounders trying their best now to help out. But it's just not looking good. Quite a lot of diminutive infantry pushing in the north. Assault pioneers could move forward. German over here. Trying to help out, but Gurkha rifles go down in the middle. More Gurkha rifles coming in. 1410, Baltimore. Is it actually only hitting? Okay. Hitting the Vanatori de Monte, but there's nothing to gain from this, really. Don't quite understand this bombing attack. German trying the best to help out over there. With some solid hits. But quite a bit of counter battery now. Coming down on Babar, whilst Finzent is up to a 59. Is Finzent doing it here? Is Finzent doing it? It kind of looks like it. Like, I don't quite know how Babar is supposed to come back here. The artillery power is not that amazing. Lost a lot of 81mm mortars. Shermans are pretty low on numbers as well. Air tap is helping out, but it's not insane, and there's a lot of infantry here now out for Finzent. And this is an infantry map. Torre de Monte might get beaten up over here. But the 16-8 still stands for Finzent. And we are in C phase, so both sides get pretty low income now. Artillery pieces trying their best. Baltimore bomber trying to help out as well. Wait, is this going for the Vanatori Dakari? Okay. Don't think the Baltimore bombing runs lately were super good either. The Bofors here is in trouble. Oh, Sherman, no. The Sherman micro is a bit off on Babar's side, and the Vanatori Dakari coming in. On cell, you really need to be careful with your tanks, because around any corner there could be a Panzerschreck dealing with you. Back over here gets beaten. But Finzent keeps the 16-8. Gurkha rifles go down over here. And this is really not looking hot here for Babar. Okay. 17 pounder. That's a bit overkill. Rifle Piat coming in. Like, I don't think you need 17 pounder on this map at all. Especially, like, against a division that the best frontal armor is 75. Don't think you need 17 pounders at all. So maybe Babar didn't rebuild the deck that he got to deal with Finzent. I was like, don't think 17 pounder is really something that you even should consider bringing on cell. In most matchups, but in this matchup especially. Because 6 pounder can just penetrate everything easily, has better rate of fire, and so on. But yes, 16-8 here continues, and I just don't see an out here for Babayan. I just don't see an out. Avranchato de Lakari. Okay. Sherman goes down now, finally, to the Vanatori Dakari. But this just means, yeah, Babar is on the ropes and surrenders here in the end. Finzent, with a really decisive victory here with fourth Monte, and I didn't expect that. I really didn't expect that. But it's cool to see. I like it. Good play by Finzent, like just using the strengths of the division, and Babar was not quite tapping into the power of 8th Indian in my eyes. And like the Sherman micro, or like Finzent knew that Shermans would be dangerous and just dealt with them pretty well. It won the artillery warfare. Ignored air as always because it's Finzent. He just doesn't play air. And with that, the score is. Oh, wait, where's the scoreboard? Why did I. Did I? Okay, yeah, the score now is 1-0 for Finzent. So, yeah, interesting. That's it. We will go into game number 2 in a minute. Let's see if Finzent can do it again. This was really good. Really, really interesting game number 1. But here we go. Finzent versus Babayan, game number 2. Chat green it is. And damn. Interesting matchup. Baba, once more, still happy with the 8th Infantry Indian, and I think it's a good choice. Like, it's just a fit-all division. I would say it's playable on every map. Let's see how he will approach it here. As the opponent in Finzent is playing for Fallschirmjäger. And the first one was won by Finzent. Score is 1-0 for Finzent, which is interesting. 4th Monte on Cell. As I said, I didn't expect it, but props to Finzent making it work really, looking really good. And yeah, now Baba is on the ropes, needs a win here to keep his tournament game alive in game number 2. As these two will clash once more. For Fallschirmjäger, with the now expensive 40 points Fallschirmjägers. So before these were in S tier division, the question, are they still? Are they still after the nerfs they have received? Or are they now more of a mid-tier division? People are still not sure about that. Gonzo has his point of view, but other people disagree with that. I would say it's still a decent division, as you also still got some Power de Assalto and so on, so you just don't rely on just Fallschirmjägers. You have some nice infantry with great Predator SMGs. You also obviously got a lot of good support stuff as well. You get LG40s, you get Spaywagens. I think you also get LG42s. No, I'm not sure on that one. But you get a lot of good units. So, a lot of good support units. So let's see how well these will do against really just all-around cost-efficient and just slightly above average across the board division in 8th Infantry. 8th Indian. Yeah, that's like, yeah, Gonzo is a bit like distorted in his view. But he said this is a bad division. Like that's the thing with Gonzo, like, because he doesn't have a problem with dealing with Fallschirmjägers, but like for the average Joe, dealing with Fallschirmjägers is still not that easy. So yeah, let's see. For the average Joe, it's still not that easy. But there's not that many Fallschirmjägers out at the beginning here. We have some Fallschirmjäger Pioneers. One Fallschirmjäger unit in the south. One Fallschirmjäger Pioneer over here. But that's some Scharfschützen. But yeah, only one normal Fallschirmjäger at the beginning. The rest is Paracadusti and Para del Salto. And well, on the other side, Rifle Piats again. As I said, I'm not quite sure if you really want them. Or if you don't just want to do Gurkha rifles and normal Indian rifles all game long. But I guess against AB-43s, the Piats can be helpful. So, yeah. 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 Fallschirmjägers have the highest DPS of any infantry in the game on above 100 meters. Like between 600 and 101 meters. They are just insane. So you gotta be really careful. Like, just running into them doesn't work. You need to beat their infantry in another way than just running infantry into them. Like in direct infantry. No, it's not a beer. You might be confused, but it's a Polana Spezi. It's one of the things I brought with me from Bavaria. I don't like Bavarian beer too much. I like beer, but I like Pilsner more than the Helles that they have in Bayern. But Spezi, like Paulaner Spezi out of Munich, that's pretty good. One of the better soft drinks out there. One of the better soft drinks out there. Flamethrowers coming in. Like for everyone who ain't from Germany, this is like Coke mixed with orange lemonade. And it's like somewhat like Mezzo Mix, but it tastes a bit better than Mezzo Mix. Yeah, here we go. Indian Bofors coming in. AOPs. Okay, so off map from the get-go here in the south for Babar. Off map being called in already. Will be followed up by some infantry. Indian scouts coming in as well. 13-11. Let's see. Some of the cute little Stooks coming in here as well. Stock M42. LG40s. Trying to hit the autocar. Can they get the kill there? 17-pounder is around as well. Maybe a bit overkill. Mortar will try to deal with the LG42s. Because MG versus Fallschirmjäger Scharfschützen. Ooh, Boston Bomber coming in. Will get the bombs dropped off. Should not get killed off by a single 20mm. Off map now being active in the south. Wait, wasn't there an AB in here? Did it already die? I'm not quite sure what happened. Pretty sure there was an AB 43 down here, right? Okay, not quite sure what happened there. Off map so far, not super successful. There's also not that much to follow it up with, actually. Gorka rifles coming in now. Meanwhile, in the north, field engineers deal with the Fallschirmjäger Flammenwerfer. Another Fallschirmjäger Flammenwerfer pushing in over here. Para Kadusti dealing with the Indian field engineers. AB-43 moving forward as well. Rifle Piats with the Piat sitting around. The mortar and the bombers get rid of the LG-42s. One of the Stuk M42s has fallen as well. No, it's just up there. Okay. 17-pounder moving forward. Meanwhile, Scout HE-111 coming around. And a fighter, the BF-110, for strafing onto the Bofors. Okay, I don't think that works. Not quite sure. I guess he wasn't aware of the Bofors. Yeah, no, doesn't work. Gets a couple of shots off. But yeah, one-star Bofors is too good for that, and it should get the BF-110 now. The BF-110 came really close. Yeah, BF-110 goes down. So yeah, the one time that Finzent actually wants to make an airplay, it gets crushed. So, yeah, maybe. So I guess we won't see much airplay from Finzent for the rest of the series. 17-pounder gets the kill. No, it doesn't get. Ooh, cast a curse. I expected it really to get the kill there on the Stuk with the next shot, but it didn't. It missed. And the autocar got killed by the Stuk. So, good trade there for Finzent. On a good position overall on this hill. Indian mortar up there as well. Field engineers versus Power de Assalto. Get melted quite quickly, but will get the revenge kill with the TNT, which is still a good trade. It's a 15-point TNT unit versus a 25-point SMG unit. So good trade there for Baba. Meanwhile, Gurkha rifles coming in here. Sherman moving forward. Rifles with Piats versus Fallschirmjäger Pioneers. Fallschirmjäger Pioneers still have one MG34 and two FG42, so on 600 meters, still really good damage output. They lost their G43s, so they are not that insane with that anymore, but they still have the TNT, so in CQC they are also still quite deadly. Rifle Piats here, get the kill. Good usage of the smoke there. Or I guess the smoke was from Babar, Finzent? I'm not quite sure, but good usage of the rifle Piats for sure. Getting a Piat kill onto one more of the Stooks. Both Stooks down now. Only the AB-42 around. Both wars actually being used against infantry. Quite ballsy here by Babar. But, I mean, you gotta use your tools, right? And if you can move it out to a position where the enemy infantry can't retaliate, this is quite nice. But obviously, if any Fallschirmjäger, for example, would get in range of this Bofors, this Bofors would just melt. So it's a bit dangerous, but so far working out in that regard. Next off map coming in. Gurkha rifles on in position to maybe abuse it. If they get some good pins. Parakadusti coming around into the center. Stook moving in here as well. But there's another rifle Piat. So we might see another Piat kill there. Rifle Piat over here moving forward as well. Gurkha rifles have to be careful. Disengaging again. Good usage of the mortars overall by Babar so far. But on the other side, we have radio mortars. And radio mortars are just so dangerous. They're not 100% on target though. So this is quite helpful for a 17 pounder, otherwise it would have been killed off already here. Indian scouts find an LG-42. Already get 2 of the hit points bleeded off. Down to 1 hit point for the LG-42. Can they finish it off? Yes, they do. So really good trades lately for Babar. And this time it seems like the 8th Indian is working out. If you would have asked most players before the matches, well, like which one he's more likely to win, 8th Indian Infantry versus 4th Munte or versus 4th Fallschirmjäger, guess most would have bet on the matchup versus 4th Munte, but it seems like it's the other way around. Fallschirmjäger is down here though, melting a sniper unit instantaneously. Fallschirmjäger is really dangerous, and the off-map not dealing too much damage, but the Gurkha rifles at least get the 1410 for now. Snipers also here in a good spot onto the Flak 38, but they're down to only 3 bullets, so can they do it with 3 bullets? Ooh, it looks like it. One more shot. Ah, they miss. 1 bullet remaining. Okay, that one goes against the other Scharfschützen. Indian scouts now out of ammo. Another BF-110 is around, but that one also will go down, won't it? Or at least it will. It's really close to it. BF-110 ain't super beefy and also not super fast. And yeah, there we go. Another BF-110 bites the dust. Bofors being the killer of Finzent's Air Force. Snipers here dealing with the Scharfschützen. 17 pounder survived the mortar fire. Luckily. For Babar. Trying to deal with the Stook. Not quite able to do so. Sherman trying to follow it up. As the rifle Piats had been pushed out of over here. But Babayan has quite a substantial force now here. 17 pounder tries to kill off a Fallschirmjäger. Not quite able to do so. Gurkha rifles holding their ground over here. Spähwagen coming in to deal with the Gurkha rifles. Power de Assalto getting caught out in the open. Belgian Pioneers trying their best. The 81mm mortars of Finzent not really hitting that well. Meanwhile, Pak 40 gets rid of one of the Spähwagens. Rid of one of the armored cars. Gurkha rifles over here moving forward. Fallschirmjäger is still around, but also over here, overwhelming force currently for Babar. Only 4 infantry units on the side of Finzent. 3 Gurkha rifles and a rifle Piat, plus Sherman, plus mortar support on the side of Babar. I think he doesn't have any off-map left, but Barayan in a good spot there as well. Assault Pioneers trying to keep the Fallschirmjäger Pioneers moving. But I think they got their TNT off. Not quite sure. Or was it against another unit before? Ah, must have been against another unit before. Field engine. Okay, they get another one off against the field engineers. blow them up into smithereens. Fallschirmjäger Pioneer and Fallschirmjäger Flamethrower survive for now, but under fire by the scouts. Fallschirmjäger Flamethrower should go down in a second. And the Pioneers are still pinned down as well, so they have to run as another field engineer arrives on the scene. 15-point units, as I said, so they can, even if they only trade 2-1 versus the Fallschirmjäger Pioneers, they still do well. As these are 30-point units. Fallschirmjägers here. Now dealing with the Gurkha Rifles. Gurkha Rifles have to disengage. Mortar finds the Power Kadusti. Not engaging onto the Fallschirmjägers. Another Bofors coming in here as well. Field engineers getting caught out over here. Sherman moving in. 14-10 for Babar. 59 is where you want to go. So you put a lot of pressure onto the enemy. 14-10 not quite doing that. Puts pressure on the enemy, but not heavy one. As you can see, still 28 minutes for Finzent to do something about this. With the current tick. You kind of want to change that. Field engineers over here. Just throw that TNT and then be done with it. Both sides throw that TNT. This one will not survive, but neither will the Fallschirmjäger Pioneers. A bit of a waste of a perfectly fine TNT here by Babar, but as long as the field engineers can reload, not a big problem. Hubel MG coming in for the 81mm mortars. Meanwhile, Bofors this time a bit too far forward. Will now get engaged by the Fallschirmjäger Pioneers, and that's what I was talking about. This Bofors will just ever so slightly survive it, as the Pioneers have to reload. Ooh, it's really close, yeah. Go down to one man. Yeah, you really have to be careful against Fallschirmjägers and Fallschirmjäger Pioneers with your Bofors. You don't want to lose them like that. You don't want to lose them like that. Yeah, TNT and HE nades are automatic, but you have to stand still to shoot them. So flamethrowers who keep your units moving, keep them from throwing. That's one of the key, like, CQC infantry mechanics that you can use. If you use 2 flamethrowers, like you don't allow a TNT unit to ever throw their TNT because you keep them constantly moving, and that way they can't use their TNT, which otherwise is the best CQC weapon in game, because TNT just does so much damage. Meanwhile, Sherman engages the Power de Assalto over here. Boston Bomber coming in as well. Overall, also the Flamers' effect of keeping units moving is also good, because units that move have a penalty in the amount of damage they receive. But units that stand still for more than a second get a bonus, and units that stand still for more than 2 seconds get an extra bonus, or 3 seconds get an extra bonus on, like, damage resilience. So you want to make enemy infantry units move, so that way your other units deal more damage to them as well. That's why you also melt it when you move into Fallschirmjägers, because your units have a penalty together with the heavy damage they deal to them. So yeah, just running into Fallschirmjägers means your infantry evaporates. Yeah, you can also turn them off. TNT, obviously. Like, you can turn off all the weapons. Like, just turn them off and on. To not make them... Or, like, attack click on a specific unit. Indian Assault Pioneers moving forward. We also now got 25-pounders trying to counter battery against the 81mm mortars. Solid choice there. It's back to a 12-12 here, though. Indian Rifles trying to go deep. Fallschirmjäger Flamethrower trying their best here. Getting one of the Indian Rifles killed. The others get out for now. Can the Flamethrowers pin them down, or will it get killed off first? It looks like it will get surrendered and killed off first, as the Indian Rifles have the Thompson. But Indian Rifles versus Fallschirmjäger Pioneers should go for the Fallschirmjäger Pioneers, as they have the FG-42. German moving forward here is risky. Everything here has AT. Tries to deal with the Fallschirmjäger, who just evaporated an infantry unit over here. Fallschirmjäger is pinned down. More Indian rifles moving forward. Mortar trying to hit the Parakadusti. Babar on the 1311. Pushing in the north now as well. Once more. Gurkha rifles coming up over here. Gustatory power, though, are around. 3 Berettas, a TNT. Pretty solid TNT unit here. Will get the TNT onto the Gurkha rifles. Good dodge, though, by Babayan with the retreat. Dodges the TNT there quite well. Gurkha rifles over here now can engage onto the Gustatory power, who don't have the TNT for now, as they still have to reload. And the Gurkha rifles should be able to pin it down before they can throw it again. Yes, good micro there by Baba. Getting a really nice kill there. Gurkha rifles over here, though. Will have to disengage in a second. Fallschirmjägers have arrived. And this Bewagen also obviously deal pretty good damage, so Gurkha rifles have to be careful. Meanwhile over here, Panzerschreck got the kill onto a Sherman. Good kill there for Finzent. Both players really showing why they are in the semifinals of Division 3. Like, they really both play pretty well in all the basic mechanics are set up well, and then it's all about finding a good strategy, good setup to outplay the enemy. There's still slight mistakes in the micro, there's still slight mistakes in the composition, I would say, but overall just really, really solid play here, and both players really showing why they made it so far in Division 3. Gurkha rifles moving forward here. Should be able to deal with the power assaulto, yeah. And 14-10 now for Babayan with the 8th Indian. More gustatory powers and power Kadusti coming in for Finzent. But Finzent is now under pressure as the 59 has happened. And the south just looks absolutely horrible now for Finzent. So we might go into game number 3 here in this series. As Babayan is putting a much better game on display this time around with the 8th Indian. And I think you can really see how the price changes have hurt the 4th Fallschirmjäger. Like, they're just not that super cost efficient anymore. And that's a big problem. Yeah, running into MG fire is never a good idea. But running into Fallschirmjäger, Fallschirmjäger fire is your last idea. That's the thing. Like, against the others, you at least still get pinned down and might be able to retreat. But against them, you just evaporate. More Fallschirmjägers and Parakadusti trying to come in the south. But there's just so much stuff for Babayan now here. Bofor is also around to push this HE-111 back. Shouldn't be able to kill it, but we'll at least keep it in the rear. And yeah, this is not looking hot. Can Finzent maybe find a good counterattack in the center? No mobile forces around here. And Finzent surrenders. GG! VP here for Babayan. Bringing similar KD onto the table that Finzent had against him in game number 1. And evening it out, showing us that these two are really made for each other. And that they give us a really, really good semifinal. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. I'm happy that I casted these games because it's an absolute blast. And I can't wait for game number 3 and see what these two will bring us in game number 3. Will we see Babayan once more with 8th Indian, or will Finzent ban it? Or like what will be the matchup in game number 3? We will figure it out in 4 minutes. See you all in 4 minutes with game number 3. The decider. Who will make it to the finals in Division 3 of the Simulated Divisions League. Or still Division 2 League. So here we are, the deciding game. Finzent versus Babayan. And Finzent is off Monte again. Map is Kostritza. Babayan is playing Corpo Italiano di Liberazione. Interesting matchup. Yeah, Corpo Italiano di Liberazione is a division that we have seen a couple of times. And it's pretty decent by now, but it's not amazing. But it has a 13-man Flamer squadron for 30 points. It has really good radio artillery. And it has Shermans. And then also quite a couple of cuties like, for example, Recon L3s. Those, sadly though, don't have HE shells on their 20mm. Yeah, you get these artillery pieces. You get radios on all your artillery pieces, also the mortars. You get obviously better 47mm. But we already saw what Monto brings to the table. Double sniper squadrons, these R35s. You also get stack counts here. Yeah, the Infanteristi, VM Pioneeries, and so on. All pretty standard infantry units. Like, they're solid. They're on the better end of infantry, but they're not amazing. And then you get the Detenuti with the TNT. But as I said, on the other side, you get the Gustatori Para, which are 13-man flamethrowers teams. Only one flamethrower, not double flamethrowers teams. With a couple of Redas and then a lot of rifles. Power the Assaltos, also pretty good. And you get Maros. 12-man, 30-point, 12 Beretta SMG squads, which just annihilate anything that tries to get into their tree line. When they're on the edges of tree lines, they just annihilate anything. And also, obviously, if they ain't up against TNT or double flamethrower squadrons or so, they also deal really well with any infantry in normal CQC combat, which makes them quite strong. So yeah, overall, also quite a good division, and somewhere in B tier. We have seen them, as I said, a couple of times, like in Division 2, Puritaner played them a couple of times, with success, even on Gora Calvaria. And I try to remember who else we saw playing them. Maybe Schroeder? I'm not quite sure. Someone else in the higher divisions also played them. But yeah, looking forward to this one, because it's a quite close matchup between Finzent and Babar. And I mean, we saw Finzent already using the 4th Monte. Question is, has he been figured out now by Babar? And can Babar now deal with that with his Corpo Italiano di Liberazione? Overall, a somewhat similar division, I guess, in playstyle to the 8th Indian as well. You got a bit more specified infantry, but you also got pretty good artillery. You get Shermans in good numbers. You have a solid air tap that is based around like medium bombers and solid fighters. Like, they're quite comparable, actually, if you think about it. So, yeah. Let's see if we can do it better this time. Or if the double sniper and just solid infantry play of Finzent, good trading, will just be too good again. Should be quite cool. Can't wait to see what these two will do with their forces. And I'm a big fan of all Italian divisions. My favorite division currently in the game is 4th Alpina Monte Rosa, but Sil is also in my top 10. I just, first of all, like Italy. I like the language. So listening to my soldiers speaking Italian is quite enjoyable. And then I like good CQC infantry. And both of these divisions give you good CQC infantry. And they also give you good artillery, which I also enjoy lately quite a bit. Have become quite the artillery player lately. And these Obitzes are quite insane. And I said that word quite a lot, didn't I? Lanciers, Flames around over here. Flamethrowers versus flamethrowers. Double sniper squadron deals with the Beretta. The Romanians also got provided quite a lot of Berettas by the Italians, so we will have that matchup here as well. But the first radio mortar already coming in here. Dealing some good damage. Trying to kill off the Bredas. Chetzetari goes down, and so does the Breda. Barakadusti in the front line. Double Bren. Double Beretta squadron. Only 8 men though. So only a mediocre squad in my eyes. Satori Power coming around. Power del Salto coming in as well. 25.9 Beretta squadron. And it's a 12-12 so far. And Gustatori Power sitting around down here. As I said, 13 men. 1 Flamer, 9 Lee Enfields, 3 Berettas. So, solid DPS overall, even without the Flamethrower in CQC. But with the Flamethrower, obviously, quite strong there. Oh god, I said it again. I'm hung up on that word lately. Yeah, Detinuti coming in. Stack Hound rolling forward, trying to deal with the double Sniper Squadron over here. Obviously, Stack Hound not the most efficient unit to deal with infantry, but decent at it. Power del Salto coming around here as well. Torre de Care engaging them. Finzent keeps control over the town, up on the 13-11 as the flag in the south has been captured. Lancia Flames have to be careful. Getting dealt with by the Detinuti on range. Detinuti with 15 mana layers, not having the most DPS, but over time they will kill you. And they did so here. A bit too far forward with his infantry is Babar over here. Another 47mm Beretta coming in. Obitsus trying to deal with an MG34, but getting shot by the MG34, and that's not a fight you want to take. Especially not against an MG34 in cover. Unless it gets a lucky hit here. No, doesn't. The MG34 gets the kill. Double snipers engaging the Arcadusti pretty well as well. But Power del Salto trying to come in for the fight over here. Good hits there by the bomber. Baltimore bombers doing a good job. And Matayo, 81mm with radio, can be quite dangerous here as well. Radio mortars, if used correctly, are really potent. 60mm mortars though, not that bad either, as they're really cheap and have insane rate of fire. They can dish out damage pretty quickly. And you have to be careful. Though I like this matchup for the radio mortars because you can counter battery 60mm mortars quite efficiently with them, as they only have 3 hit points. So, and they have to get in range of your radios quite often. So on that part you can then hit them and deal with them. But Torre de Care get melted here by the Power de Assalto. Quite a lot of them moving forward. Getting off the AT grenade onto the R35. We'll be able to deal with it. LTVM is killed off as well. Double Sniper is the only unit standing. Power Cadusti with the double Bren is trying to engage there. Power del Salto now crossing the road, trying to get to the other side. And in CQC they should be able to deal with the double Sniper. Well, Gustatori is coming in over here. Gustatori Powers having been dealt with, as there's 2 flamethrowers and a Molotov cocktail unit here, so they can pin down units quite quickly in CQC. Power del Assalto trying to find the double sniper, not having them found just yet, but there we are. And yeah, the Church Tower just get annihilated. Berettas are just insane when it comes to DPS and CQC, especially against moving targets. Sherman here, dealing with the infanteristi. Gustatori around as well. And that's one of the strengths of Sil. Like, nearly all your infantry units got Berettas. So in CQC, they all dish out substantial damage, up to insane damage with the Power del Salto and especially the Mauros. Gustatori coming in over here. 13-11 for our player in red for Babar. Babar doing pretty well for himself here in this game. Number 3 so far. And let's see how Finzent can bring it back. Finzent still having a slight advantage in the south. Lost an R35 over here though as well. Not the biggest fan of R35s, as they only have AT and they are quite easy to kill for any anti-tank gun. Basically anything with AT power, and they're too slow to maneuver out of the way quite often, as they are pretty much on crawling speed. Babar getting the real flag here, getting him up to the 1311 against Finzent. And MG34 from over here, engaging onto the church. But Radio Mortar is doing a good job here. Is out of HE shells for now though. And I would expect there to be no supply trucks in A phase for Babar, only bringing them up in B phase with a B phase 4 supply truck card. So this most likely will be silent for the rest of A phase. Meanwhile, 60mm mortars, one of them already got killed off. The other one though is still around, could put up some explosive into this forest. Meanwhile, Stackhound is moving forward over here. Power d'Assalto doing really well against the Infanteristi. As you can see, the trade is completely horrible for the Infanteristi, even though they still have a decent SMG. And their MG can also fire in CQC, as it is an automatic rifle. But the Power d'Assalto just such high DPS with their 9 Berettas. And once the Mauros arrive, that won't get any better. Gustatoris are your pioneer units with TNT in this deck. 1311 continues. And yeah, what is going well for Finzent? This over here is at least somewhat good. Putting a bit of a surround here, but Finzent not quite capable of getting the sniper units to work just yet. But Kare not able to find the connection to the Stackhound either. And Power d'Assalto, even when they nearly got completely melted before, they still dealt significant damage here to the Pioneers. Sniper unit from over here comes in though. Power d'Assalto now running in onto the Pioneery. Will most likely die for it, but might be able to get rid of the Pioneers beforehand. Oh, hey, they actually want to try to find the Mandatory Dakari. Okay. That should be an interesting engagement. The Tories here should be able to deal with the leader. Mandatory Dakari will throw the TNT. Oh my god, even... They have 5? Okay. They trade out, which is good for the Power d'Assalto. And even with 5 Oritas, they just get completely annihilated. But it's a classic Finzent game. Finzent has enough AA now to shoot down bombers. Doesn't need to rely on fighters. And gets the first shutdown on the Baltimore. With the AA. Pack 40 down the road. Will find the connection onto the Power d'Assalto as well. Oh no, the Gustatory Power. So, some nice connections there for Finzent, but the forest fight not going too hot so far. Tenuti and Pioneer disengaging from the Gustatori over here. We and Pioneer coming in once more. And they don't have the same damage output there. They don't have enough SMGs for Monte to deal with this easily. Exploratori being pushed back. Infantery with artillery leader coming in. Answer for it. Try to deal with the Shermans. Let's see how this works out. And a couple of artillery pieces as well for Finzent in the rear. Maybe for counter-batterying the 81mm mortars. Not sure what this is for. Pack 40 moving in over here. Yeah. Burnt Pies, it was a good show of how effective Berettas are. Berettas and Swarmies are just nuts. they are completely nuts when it comes to DPS output. Oh my god, this Pack 40 is doing a really good job for Finzent here. Putting a lot of shells down the road and getting a couple of kills on transports by now. And if we could kill some Maros, that would be nice. Maros are the level up of the Paradise Assault though. And first one is down. Babar not watching. Second one will unload. Oh no, actually they're exactly right. The 12-mans are in... yeah, I confused them. There's two forms of Maros. There's the 9-man squadron here, which is actually identical to the Paradise Assault though. And then there's the 12-man one in the Toulon, on the Axis side. That one is actually the 12-man, but it also 5 points more expensive. Gustatori is over here, engaging onto the pack. German could move forward. Pack 97 gets eliminated. And yes, everything having a Beretta is just quite insane. 75mm will come around. Pack 40 is forced back here. And we have a Obitsa artillery piece coming in now for Babar as well. And the 75mm are not going for counter battery. They actually hit frontline targets, so the 81mm are unmolested. They can still deal with the enemy here. Maros make it into the forest, easily deal with the pack. Could also maybe deal with the Tenuti, as the Tenutis have nothing to follow them up on their Molotov. So I'm not sure if Finzent actually should try to search the engagement here. As I said, not the biggest fan lately of the Tenutis anymore, because Molotovs don't insta-stun anymore, or like don't do way less damage, and with the Manlichers you just don't have enough DPS to follow up onto that first Molotov, so you often end up still losing the CQC fights with the Tenuti. And so it's just, they're okay if you mix them up with other units, but on their own they're just not that good anymore. And that means you have to invest quite a bit into using them in the combined arms, as they are 25-point units on their own already. Ooh, Mauro versus the Tenuti. Did they get their Molotov off? And with two of them, they should be able to deal with the Mauros. Yes, Mauro gets surrendered. Two Molotovs flew out. Parakadusti coming in together with some Mauros and some Gustatori Powers. And it's still a 13-11 for the second here for Babar, but Finzent is slowly but surely grinding the way back into this match. Möbelwagen coming up. Pack 40 really helped out. A couple of Crusader AAs on the side of Babar. And it's a really intense game number 3 between these two players. They are pretty even in this one. The first two games were a bit one-sided at this stage already, to one side or the other, but this time around I would say it's the closest game we have so far. And I actually don't even know who's ahead right now. Well, like 3-4 minutes ago I would have said Babar, but I'm not sure if this is still true. Finzent has amassed quite the infantry force over here. These are substantial forces that he can push forward with. Artillery pieces still not used for counter battery. I'm surprised by that, as I don't think they're that good for hitting frontline targets. And they're somewhat expensive. Like, they're not super cheap, 60 points. They're not really expensive either, but the 75mm I'm not a big fan. Stack count getting killed off over here by the Pack 38. Sherman moving forward. Ooh, this is a risky engagement. I would say it's a bad engagement, especially if you show side armor. Oh boy, Sherman survives for now. Authority Kari coming up though as well. Sherman gets the kill onto Pak 38. Driver wounded though. So the Volatori to carry could be able to finish it off. Pak 38 already does so. Volatori to carry now against Power Kadusti. You have to be careful. The two Berettas together with the two brands doing a really good job there in dealing with this. But the Sherman loss means that Finzent is up to 13-11 now. Still holding the flag in the south. Now holding all the flags on his side of the map once more as well. So, yes, a really close game that we have at hand here. And I like it. It's a good matchup between these two. And between the two divisions that we got here as well. And the Pak 40 is just an absolute beast here. Artillery now trying to counter battery for Babar, but he doesn't have radio going that deep in. So, not sure if that's the right idea. I think you rather should use your radio artillery to hitting the front line. Oh boy, I think the Pak 40 just got another kill here, didn't it? Yeah, another unit died to the Pak 40. This Pak 40 is doing an insane job. Baltimore coming around once more, not really hitting anything though. Naros being pushed back over here. Sherman coming in though. Dealing with the Tinuti. More of them are around over here. 13-11 for Finzent. Flying deep. Ubica coming in the south. More Ubicas will shoot into the south as well. And Babar will get the flag back down here. And this is the real power, in my eyes, of this division. 50-point radio artillery. And is an okay amount of other radio units like the L-35. L-335. Or Alpini Esploratore in the recon tab. That allow you to get the radio somewhat deep forward into the enemy territory. Somewhat reliably. And then follow that up with 50-point 75mm artillery pieces that have a pretty good rate of fire with 7 rounds per minute. Are super dirt cheap. And thanks to the accuracy, also can dish out damage onto the target. Like if you have radio onto a AT gun or so, you can let that AT gun evaporate in no time. 12-12 still happening here. So this game is still on the edge. 20mm goes down. More ACs coming in. More Breda anti-tank guns. Baltimore now getting pushed back before it... No, it actually dropped its bombs. Okay. Dropping it to the Detinuti. Or no, onto the town? Okay. That was not a good bombing run once more for Babar. Alpini Esplorante moving forward. Obizas will hit the south. 60mm mortar coming in. 20mm. One of them getting killed off over here. Stack count will move around. Find another 20mm. Will kill it off as well. Armored push of Finzent not going too well over here. Not a big fan of this one. Stack count though is in trouble. Gustatory power will be shot as well. Pak 38 cannot kill another Sherman. It doesn't look like it. Nope. This time the Sherman is the victor. Well, the Breda over here is out of HE shells, so the Bredas of Finzent will find a kill there. 20mm will get rid of the Detinuti. Sherman moving forward. Panzer 4 moving slightly forward. There is an M1 gun though coming forward. And the Sherman coming up as well. Also, we have a commander on the side of Babar. And we are now in C phase. So, highly unlikely that we will see one on the other side as well. So wherever there is a leader, Babar now has a good veterancy advantage. Like everything here around has now 2 or 3 star veterancy. Whilst on the other side, it's not quite that high. Due to there not being a commander. Which is a substantial investment, but if this game goes longer, it will start to pay off. Alpini Esplorante. 25, 1 sniper, but 8-man squadron. Trying to deal with the Pak 97. Panzer 4 over here gets killed off. And really good usage of the Crusader AAs against infantry. Really solid usage of those by Babar. And it's just continuing the pressure onto the south now. L35, 335 could maybe move up to this position to keep the radio up to the front line. Not sure these still have radio on the target over here. No, the spread is too far. But with more gustatory powers and Maros coming in here, you might still be able to win it anyways. There's a Panzer IV in the rear. So, to hold the line. The Crusaders are doing an absolutely marvelous job here for Babar. Those 20mm did make a lot of infantry units disappear around here. And it overall was not a good push by Finzent here. Finzent maybe somewhat over eager with the push over here. Maybe should have waited a bit longer. Consolidated a bit more. But felt like not quite sure why he did that. I guess the artillery might have pressured him into it, as his artillery has been killed off by now. And not having artillery in the late game obviously makes you the side that needs to push in, otherwise you will just get blown into smithereens by the artillery at one point, unless you have a really good air force. But with Finzent, that obviously ain't the case, as Finzent is not the biggest supporter of big airplay. Air spam, not his style at all. Like if there's a player out there whom you won't see air spam, it's Finzent. But the 47mm here, shooting down the road. And yeah, Finzent somewhat over eager here. Threw away the point where he had the biggest advantage in my eyes. 60mm mortars. Now though, hitting the Crusaders. And they're moving. And they're counted as open top, right? No, they have strong top. Oh no, right, this is the Mark II. They're not open top vehicles, no. But still, at some point, 60mm mortars will be able to kill them. Finzent has superior force in the north though. Slowly pushing in there. Exploratory moving around in the rear. Got quite deep in there. Got a Piat there to maybe hit some transport. And the 75mm pushing Finzent back here. Finzent in trouble. Sherman coming in here as well. Leave the Vanatory, and then there's not much AT around here anymore. There's one Pak 38 still though. So the Sherman needs to be careful as well. Babar shouldn't get over eager either. We'll hit the infantry over here though. And the artillery park of Finzent, of Babar starts to do its part. Trying to 20mm here. Möbelwagen has to be careful with rolling really deep in there. Sherman might find a connection there. Yes, it does. Gets one of the Möbelwagen killed. So Finzent's AA network is slowly falling apart. Meanwhile, Sherman over here bullying some infantry. And Finzent is struggling a bit, as the mobile forces he had have been killed off, and without mobile forces doing a push is not that easy, especially as he doesn't have artillery, he doesn't have airplanes, so it's mostly like he has a bit of artillery with the 60mm mortars, but he's not using them for smoke or so either. And so it's mostly anti-tank guns and infantry, and that's usually not the units you want for a push. Especially not if the enemy also can hit you with artillery in your setup for it. So 1410 here for our Sil player. Alpini Esplorante get the kill. And this looks good for Babar. No. Babar has really softened up the center now of Finzent. Is slowly but surely pushing in here. And the artillery just keeps on pounding. Even in the south now. He has pushed back Finzent's units. Got the kill onto the Panzer IV somehow. Not sure if it was the 47mm. Wouldn't expect so. I would guess it was the artillery pieces that got the kill. L-35 still slightly too far in the rear, but he has radio thanks to the parodic commando. Alpini Esplorante also pushing deep here. Giving Baba radio behind enemy lines here. And Baba got the center under control. Vanator de Monte not able to deal with this, as the Alpini Esplorante with the sniper help out big time here in keeping this pinned down. Artillery now coming in as well. This is looking real hot now for Baba. Finzent is somewhat struggling here. Really, the overeager push in the center here was what took this team out of his, or the wind out of his sails. And now he is just in survival mode and not capable of launching any more assaults, it feels like. And that means that artillery will just take him apart bit by bit. Another AA piece has fallen. As soon as all the AA pieces have fallen, the Baltimores can come in with impunity and bomb with impunity once more. Vanatori de Monte have been pushed back here. But they killed off the Paracadusti. So more gustatory powers will come in just in time to secure the flag over here. 59 now for the Sil player Babayan. Some 20mm autocannons trying to salvage the situation in the south. So there's a lot of enemy forces here. 60mm mortar hitting well here on the Paracadusti. More of them are around though, and might be able to find a kill onto the artillery together with the half-track. Baltimore bomber coming in to hit some more units as well. They even might hit the 20mm autocannon cars. A bit, but not really. Infantry not going down too far, but it's a 17-7, and this is looking like a GG. And it will be Babayan in the finals, as this is not looking hot for Finzent at all. 100mm artillery piece is trying to hit the half-track. 17-7 here for Babayan. One flag away from the 18-6, 10 minutes to go. I don't know how Finzent deals with Shermans at this point. Like, Shermans alone in the north are just too much this time around, and Shermans overall way better preserved than in the first game, where we saw Finzent win against the 8th Indian of Baba. This time, Baba preserved the Shermans quite a bit better and used them really effectively against 20mm autocannon cars and so on. Against mobile wagons. And putting a lot of pressure on Finzent. 17-7 continues. The artillery just keeps on coming. And the artillery should be able to also silence any pushes here of Babayan. Of Finzent. Exploratory also will find another kill in the north onto Pak 38. Pak 38 obviously a solid choice against Shermans, but also not for the offensive. And Finzent needs to be aggressive here now. 17-7 is quite close to the 18-6, and at 18-6 this game will be over in no time. Paracadusti getting an AT grenade onto a 20mm autocannon cars, as Finzent is overly aggressive now, but he kind of needs to be. And oh no, he loses 2 of the 20mm autocannon cars to a single Karusti. That shouldn't happen, obviously, but it did, and that means Finzent is in absolute shambles now in the south as well. Tries to bring in more units here, but it's over. Finzent's tournament run is pretty much over. The only thing that could save Finzent here now is a disconnect, I think. 8 minutes to go, but I don't see the play here for fourth Monte. I don't see the play. Commandosi coming around. 100mm artillery piece on the fire. The Tenotian infantry should be able to deal with this for now. So Finzent is getting this territory back somewhat, but a Sherman coming up. There's quite a lot of AT guns around here as well, so the 20mm won't be able to push for sure. And there's enough infantry to deal with this small amount of infantry of Finzent's as well. In the north is just Shermans everywhere. Shermans covering any possible arc that Finzent could come through, and the Pak 38's getting picked off by the Exploratory. This time, not instantaneously, but the reaction of Babar is turning off the rifle fires again, and the Pak 38 also won't make it to the front line, even if it would survive now. It will take forever to get to the front line, and it won't survive as the Exploratory will slowly but surely pick it off, as the Pak 38 doesn't have any HE grenades to retaliate here. Though the Piat missed at first. 20mm car gets killed off by an M1 gun. And the artillery pieces keep on pounding. And they were just so efficient over time here. 50 points, really nothing for these artillery pieces. Alpine Esplorante get the kill on the Breda with their sniper rifle as well. Sherman coming around over here. Are a bit shy, but they don't have to fear the Tenotian, and there's basically nothing left here by now for Finzent in the south either. Gustatory power moving in. The Tenotian haven't fallen yet. Gustatory power though should be able to deal with these Tenotis for sure. Sherman now coming around. We'll finish them off in a second. There we go. And the 17-7 continues. So yes, there's just no push power left here. GGVP here, really. For Babar, playing a quite clean game overall. Using the power of the CQC units. Was a bit overeager for a second here, I guess. And allowing Finzent to build up some significant amount of forces again. But the Exploratory really annoying behind the enemy lines here. Getting a lot of kills there. And the Shermans, plus artillery, plus better CQC infantry, really securing the W here for Babar in a quite clean game at the end. But Finzent did fight back for a significant amount of time this time. As I said, it would overall be the closest game of the whole series. And even though in the end, I guess the KD will be heavily in favor of Babar again, it was pretty close for a significant amount of time in this game, like the first 25 minutes or so, or at least the first 20 minutes. It was a pretty close game, but then Finzent's overeager push threw away his capabilities of trading efficiently here, and after that Babar just dictated the engagements and got the better out of them, especially due to the artillery. These two Shermans going down over here, but it's an 18-6 now, and that's 1 minute 57 remaining here for Finzent. 18-6 happening. Exploratory doing a really good job there. Artillery keeps on pounding. pinning down the infantry. Now might even do some friendly fire onto the Parakadusti. Yeah, gets them pinned down. Not a good move there by Babar, but doesn't really matter. He has enough to afford this. Vesalieri's moving in the south. Alpini Esperante. Sitting around 18-6, happening once more. Turret Kari getting picked off everywhere. Maro's pushing in. Turret Munte coming in. But the CQC aspect of Kostritza in the north is just really big and still is slightly better in CQC. It doesn't have the sniper firepower, but this is not the best sniper map. Like I would say, even though Cell is also quite the CQC map, I would say snipers work somewhat better on this map than on Kostritza. 17-7 now again, so Finzent has a bit more time. Gets a couple more kills here again, but and getting rid of most of the Shermans, only one remaining, which is pretty impressive that he was able to do that in the end after losing a big chunk of his combined arms. But the 17-7 is still going relentlessly here for Babar, and it will give him the W in a second. I'm surprised that Babar is still fighting this. That Finzent is still fighting this, but I guess Finzent is not someone he usually gives up too early. And the 18-6 is happening. Panzer IV trying to move forward. Another Sherman coming in here for Babar. And the artillery just did so much. Might be out of supply though. I guess it's 4 supply trucks, so might have fired all his supply guns. So that, yeah, if the situation would be a bit better for Finzent, that might have allowed him a comeback, but at this point it's already too late. As the artillery guns now all somewhat useless, as they are out of ammo. But there's just too much on the map now, and only 8 seconds remaining, so yes, it will be Babar in the finals. GG VP here to Babayan. And in the end, it was quite clear, 1,400 points more. But as I said, I'm pretty convinced it was next to even in some parts of the mid game. So the artillery did a good job. 81mm mortar here, doing a really solid job. Some of the Shermans doing a good one as well. Crusaders, leading infantry pushing through to them. Yeah, Sherman's doing insanely well here. And Obice dealing with a 20mm, dealing with a Breda, dealing with an artillery piece and a mortar. Doing a pretty decent job. I did miss this L30, 335, dealing with 2 20mm autocannon cars. That's quite impressive. And yes, the Sherman's just dealing so much more damage in this game than in game number 1. Being a way bigger workhorse for Babar was one of the big differences between this one and the first game, where Finzent won with 4th Monte. Way better preservation of the Shermans for most of the game, and then good kills with them. Pak 40, as you can see, did a good job of trying to keep it a bit more in favor of Finzent, but nothing else did an insane amount. So his division might be slightly more cost efficient overall. But yes, Babar getting the W and going into the finals. And yeah, I will cover the other semifinal as well, most likely, but not today. I will end the stream here for now. 5 hours of streaming. I hope you had a good fun, had a good time as well. I really enjoyed it being back after 1 week of not streaming, and I hope you did so as well. Hope to see you tomorrow. We will cover Wano tomorrow, the monthly tournament. There haven't been as many games played as I hoped. That's mostly due to the Eugen messing up the balance a bit in Wano, but maybe we get a patch tomorrow. Would expect it on Wednesday though. But yeah, hope to see you all tomorrow again. thanks for the new followers. Thanks for the raid again, Yuckdog, if you're still around. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Let's raid Republic of Play. He's playing the new Dune Spice Wars RTS that I talked about earlier with Yuckdog, and that should be interesting. So let's have a good look at that one, and hope you see you all next time. Bye-bye.